we covered this terrible incident that happened at Beirut Harbor. And so far, as of now, you have 135 dead. Allah yarhamun, shuhada, Allah yarhamun. And we have 5,000 injured. The official story at the moment is that you had a cargo ship that was, it was a cargo ship on its way to Mozambique, if I recall correctly. And they made an unscheduled stop at Beirut's port and unloaded all of this ammonium nitrate, which was actually confiscated. It was confiscated from them, right? And this is about 2,750 tons of ammonium nitrate. And they were left there for years and years. This is going back like 6 years or something, right? When this stuff was offloaded there. This ship was never meant to stop at Beirut, okay? Nonetheless, it was offloaded there, and they've arrested the director of the port. People who work there are under house arrest now. So the government is looking to punish anyone who was involved in this careless act of leaving the ammonium nitrate there. Nonetheless, I don't think this rules out the possibility of sabotage, because once again, as I said before, the two are not mutually exclusive. Nonetheless, I just want to show you the scale of the devastation, the new pictures here. I mean, look at that. That's absolutely terrifying. That's a before and after. Really heartbreaking. Really heartbreaking. Insane. Absolutely crazy. And let me just remind you, because Syria is under sanctions, the ports in Ladiyeh and Tartus are out of action. So a lot of the aid that comes to Syria comes through Beirut's port. So this is devastating for Syria, who are already under brutal sanctions. Lebanon import most of their goods, so this is devastating for Lebanon as well. This is a disaster. I mean, like, if you wanted to destroy Lebanon's infrastructure, this is the spot. This is the prime target. And we know for a fact that the IDF and Netanyahu even went to the UN and gave a speech about, they have missiles being built and assembled in the port and next to the Hariri airport. So we know they had their eye on this. But nonetheless, people are really, really suffering because of this. I told you, you have 135 dead, you have 5,000 people wounded, hospitals overflowing. You have 300,000 people now out on the streets, homeless. There isn't a shop, there isn't a restaurant, there isn't a house, an apartment that hasn't been shattered and had their windows blown out and just completely devastated by this. Really, really terrible stuff. We had Rania on the show the other day, and she's in Beirut. I talked to her, and I'm glad to hear she's okay. I still need to find out about my family. I haven't heard back yet. And this is just really an unmitigated disaster. It's just really terrible. And nonetheless, people are understandably really upset at the government. And you've had some videos coming out of a few riots, of protests. Again, we don't know the full scale of them yet, but people are already going through economic hardships. The crisis in Lebanon was already bad enough, and this on top of it is really just adding fuel to the fire. So I seen these videos coming out of Beirut. Just people protesting against the government and asking for the resignation of everybody. And to make matters worse, are you ready for the next stage, the next step? I mean, when I saw this today, I was in shock. So on top of that, the French president, Emmanuel Macron, he comes to Beirut and lands there And as soon as I saw this,
de vouloir rencontrer toutes les parties prenantes possibles, politiques mais aussi économiques.
Et on voit le président descendre sur le tarmac, Anne-Sora Dubois.
Absolument.
I was like, oh my God. Well, the imperialists are back, right? The imperialists are back. I mean, this was very reminiscent, for me at least, it's very reminiscent of Charles de Gaulle getting off of a plane in Africa, right? In one of the French colonies. And so, I don't know, it just gives me a terrible vibe, right? I don't like this. Because you have to understand that Syria and Lebanon, after World War I, they were under French military occupation, and then they became French mandates, right? And they only gained independence after World War II. And I mean, the Middle East was carved up by the French and the British, the Sykes-Picot Agreement. And this is just such a colonialist moment. And it gets worse. It gets worse because you actually have people in Lebanon that are asking for the French to come and rule them again. You can't make this up. I swear you can't make this up, man. I mean, it's disgusting beyond belief. Look at this. You got people posting, place Lebanon under French mandate for the next 10 years. And they got a petition going. Look, 50,000 people signed that thing. 50,000 idiots. And look at this video over here.
La peine et la colère en même temps quand on voit ce qui s'est passé sur le port. Toutes ces maisons détruites, 300 000 Libanaises et Libanais sans logement. Et donc ce que je suis venu dire d'abord, c'est une aide sans condition pour le peuple.
الذي وصل ظهرا إلى بيروت في زيارة بعد انفجار الذي وقع في مرفأ بيروت.
Je suis un élève en terminale, c'est inadmissible la corruption. Quand on apprend ça à l'école, comment ça fonctionne, on est outragé, on est choqué. Je suis dans un collège francophone. On nous apprend tout ce qui ne se passe pas dans ce pays. S'il vous plaît, un mandat ou bien un retournement de toute cette politique qui est tellement bien fermée, qui est tellement bien closue sur elle-même, on ne sait même pas comment les renverser. Vous avez le pouvoir de le faire, s'il vous plaît, faites-le.
What was that, dude? Did you hear that clown? Un mandat, s'il vous plaît. I mean, this is like peak ignorance. Peak ignorance. How disgusting. This dude has no shame, like literally begging a French president to colonize him. دل حسطيزي. عن جد يعني انتو تستاهلوا ما بتستاهلوا شيء غير الصرامي. قليلين ذوق، قليلين شرف، قليلين فهم، حمير. If you like this so much, man, if you want to live so badly under a French mandate, why don't you just go and live in France? Who told you that Lebanese and Arabs want to be colonized? You imperialist dog. I mean, like this guy, these people have zero self-respect, zero shame, zero dignity, nothing. What a pathetic display of submissive ignorance. That's embarrassing. That is embarrassing, dude. That is really some embarrassing shit.
Dites-leur, non, mais il y a deux choses. Dites-leur que moi je suis venu l'aider ce matin et que je vais aller parler à toutes les forces politiques pour leur demander un nouveau pacte.
Okay, so that's what he said. He said, je vais parler à toutes les forces politiques pour leur demander un nouveau pacte. So he's going to go and speak to all the political parties and ask them for a new pact? A new deal? What does that mean? We're going to offer them colonization again? I don't like this. I don't like this one bit, man. I don't like this one bit. You know what? Let me tell you something, man. let me tell you something. If an Algerian heard what these people are saying, they're gonna come with the swords. Okay. فعلا يعني لو واحد جزائري يسمع هالزبالة اللي عم تحكوها والله ما بتستاهلوا شيء غير هالسيف. Do you know how many people the French killed in Algeria? This is just Algeria. Right? 1.5 million. Genocide. Because they wouldn't let go of it. And we're talking in the 50s and 60s. This is not long ago. 1.5 million Algerians killed because they were fighting for independence. And France just wouldn't let go. I mean, some of the most obscene torture that you can possibly imagine. You had people in the French army, you had officers in the French army collecting the skulls. I shit you not. This is not exaggeration. Go and Google it, look it up. I've seen these pictures myself. They would collect the skulls of resistance fighters and torture victims. Like just next level shit. Diabolical shit. And this is not just confined to these idiots. I've seen other idiots, which I told you about before, who call for the return of the Ottoman Empire. They want Lebanon to be occupied again by the Turks, by the Ottomans. I mean, this is unreal. Like how someone can be so ignorant and lacking in self-respect and dignity that they want to submit themselves to a colonial force. I mean, it's unreal. It's unreal, man. Truly. And it's so funny because these are the same people who will turn around and say that, oh, Syria is occupying us or Hezbollah is occupying us. What? Dude. They're the only reason that you're not called Israel. Okay? That's one thing. Second of all, how come you're fine with Western occupation or occupation by the Ottomans? That's any better? When the Middle East was occupied for 400 years by the Ottomans, guess what? They weren't handing out candy and ba'lawa to the Arabs, okay? This was the Dark Ages. They set us back. And when the French and the British were occupying the Middle East, they were killing us. They came and created Israel, which occupied and stole your land and bombs you. What is wrong with you? Are you stupid? And, you know, they'll say that, oh, we need this. Please come save us because, look, our government is so corrupt and they just can't seem to function properly because you got so many different parties and they just can't agree and it's a mess and look what happened. This disaster is all their fault. And no. You idiot. You moron. The reason that Lebanon is in peril and has been in peril for decades, just like Syria, just like the entire Levant and the Middle East, is because of France, is because of the Ottomans, is because of the Westerners. They're the ones putting sanctions on you, you dumb motherfucker, ya ahmar, ya alil fahm. They're the ones who came and put a Zionist occupation next door to you and stole your land. They're the ones who come and bomb you and supply neighboring countries with weapons to bomb you. They're the ones who won't let you be in peace. How can you be so dumb? How can you be so submissive and have zero self-respect? Never mind respect for your fellow countrymen. Oh my God. Like if you claim that you care about your own country, right? If you say, oh, I just want my country to work. I want my country to develop. But then you turn around and you want another country to take over, another country to be in charge. It's not your country anymore. You're under occupation. By the way, I can just hear already some Lebanese dude in the comments going like, انت شو دخلك اصلا انت مش لبناني. لا تخاف حبيبي. لا تخاف. مو قاعد لحالك بلبنان. So this is just some of the most disgusting shit I've ever seen, really. Like, I can't decide which one's worse. The people who want to live under French occupation or Ottoman occupation, it's unbelievable. You know, like, just really crazy. Just really crazy. And once again, I showed you the flag of the Syrian opposition, which is actually the same flag from when Syria was a French mandate, which is so ironic because they tell you, oh, we're fighting for freedom. And yet they use a colonial flag. And look at this atrocity, speaking of flags. Oh my God, I'm going to puke. I am going to puke. I'm going to puke. I'm going to lose it. Dude, if you like it so much, why don't you go live in France? Pourquoi tu dégages pas en France? Vas-y, casse-toi. Casse-toi. Ça, c'est le Liban. OK? Ça, c'est Syrie. Ça, c'est le Moyen-Orient. Ça, c'est le monde arabe. Toi, tu vas aller habiter en France, tu veux être soumis aux Français, dégage en France. Ça existe. Regarde, c'est en Europe. Dégage. Putain, mais il y a pas de respect, quoi. Zéro respect. Bande de chiens, d'ingrats, d'incultes. Not to mention, dude. I can't overstate this enough. All of the problems, 99% of the problems that the Middle East is going through are either due to sanctions, are either due to colonialism, are either due to neo-colonialism, are either due to foreign intervention and military occupation. I mean, how can you be so dumb? These are literally the same people who fucked you over, and you want them to come back and fuck you over even more? How ignorant can you be? How ignorant can you be? Bro, seriously, I'm serious. I see this shit. I mean, just look at this, man. At the end of World War I, Lebanon was placed under French military administration before the League of Nations formally gave the mandate for Lebanon and Syria to France in 1923. Initially, during World War II, Lebanon was administered by the Vichy France, but the territory came under France Libre, Free France, in 1942. French representative General Quatreau later proclaimed both the independence of Lebanon and Syria following pressure from Britain. The Free French government, with Charles de Gaulle as its head, showed an unwillingness to let go of their control over the region. Oh yeah, exactly. They decided, however, to hold elections in 1943, which resulted in a victory for nationalists. This is, once again, I mentioned Charles de Gaulle at the beginning because, dude, I went to a French school. I studied this. So this guy did the same thing in Africa, right? Even during the process of decolonization, he was adamant about continuing to maintain this axe of French influence throughout the continent, the African continent, and the Middle East by extension, right? So that, like, even if you were going to become an independent country, you're not really going to be independent because you're still going to have the influence of the French language, of French culture, of French corporations, of French interests inside your territory. And so again, this is why we speak of neo-colonialism, right? This relationship where, we pretend, they teach you that, that colonialism officially ended on the part of the British and the French in 1945 and the 1940s. But this is ludicrous. To this day, they are using their multinationals to plunder these countries. Just recently, right? They trying to get the oil. Just recently, Total, the French company, is trying to do a gas extraction from Lebanon. Like you can't win, right, with these people. Zero self-respect. Zero. I would rather live in a fucking tent in the desert than give 1 inch, 1 centimeter of my land to the imperialists. Okay? That's real patriotism and anti-imperialism, right? I have no respect for these nutless, spineless, invertebrate traitors who would sell off and prostitute their own country and countrymen and resources to white colonialist powers. I have no respect for them. They're fucking traitors as far as I'm concerned. Absolute traitors. If they like it so much in France or in Turkey, why don't you fuck off and go live in France and Turkey? If you are such a fan. These white people don't even like you. They would not even let you in the country. They would not give you a visa or residency or citizenship because they look down on you. And you get on your knees and you're submissive to them. Wallahi قليلين شرف. ما عندكم جنس ذوق. ما في مخ. And it's the same issue. It's the same thing all over the world. Like when you see this opposition in Venezuela asking for American troops to come in and being supported directly by the State Department and using all means necessary, even starving their own people on behalf of Uncle Sam. That's not liberation. That's oppression, okay? And you look at Syria as well. You look at the Free Syrian Army, the moderate rebels, right? Dude, look at Al-Tanaf. This small bit of land they control, what do? They let the Americans come and install a fucking airbase. So this is America now, basically. Like, you just handed over the land to America. How is that liberation? You literally just let them put an airbase there. You don't own it anymore. It belongs to Washington, D.C. now, you fucking idiot. And you look at the Kurds, what are they doing? They're being supplied with logistics and weaponry by the Americans. They have the presence of U.S. military forces with them. And they're selling the oil now, which does not belong to them, which belongs to all Syrians. Remember, Syria has many minorities, not just one. I come from an even tinier minority than the Kurds. I don't get a say. I have to shut my mouth because of some cunts on Reddit. Who are you? And they're taking that oil and selling it to the Americans? You're working, collaborating with the enemy, and you call yourself a freedom fighter? Fuck out of here, man. You're an imperialist. You're on their side. It's very simple. And these jihadists, they're backed by America. The militias coming in from Turkey, the Turkish army themselves. I mean, every single one of these parties is backed by an imperialist foreign power and have nothing to do with the will of the people, nothing to do with the grassroots revolution. Nothing but nefarious, imperialist, and corporatist interests at play. It's very clear. It's very clear, right? And for these people who think that an accident or an act of sabotage, whichever one it is a reason to ask for the French to come in or some foreign power to come and occupy you. I mean, you are عن جد يعني والله انتوا كلاب صراحة. This is all I have to say to you.
والله انتوا كلاب بصراحة يعني. ماشي نشتغل عادي.